Hi, I'm Rick Suman with Debt Free Network. Thank you for joining me again. If you're looking at this video, it means you've seen my introductory video. Just kind of making an introduction to who we are and what we do. And this video is actually going to be about what are your options when you get sued. You probably know what most of your options are, but I'll just take you through them and what some of the pitfalls of those are. If you received a summons, it means you've defaulted. And if you've defaulted on a merchant cash advance, it means you're in a place that you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. And I'm sorry that you're going through what you're going through. It is not an enviable position to be in. But so here are your options. When you get sued by a merchant cash advance, you can choose to do nothing, which I don't advise you doing. That's probably the worst choice. And trying to navigate this, you can hire an attorney. But let's think about that, okay? You just got sued. In any other area of life, if you get sued, you need an attorney, right? That makes perfect sense. And it makes perfect sense too, here too, unless you understand it's the wrong choice to make. When you hire an attorney to answer the suit, you're now in that suit. You're actually in the suit now to win it, lose it, or settle it. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a settlement 4 or 5 months down the road. But it's going to be a very costly, expensive settlement because you've hired an attorney. And I'll give you a really, really brief observation of one that was probably the worst situation I've seen in a long time. And it was a company that hired an attorney to answer the suit. They'd been sued. They had a $5,000 merchant cash advance. It's supposed to be $10,000. They had a whole bunch of others too, but there was this one little one that it was $5,000. If they made their first payment, they were going to get another $5,000. And they defaulted right out of the gate. Instead of getting the $5,000 more in cash to help them, they got a $5,000 default fee. So not only do they owe the $5,000 that they took out, but now they have $5,000 in default fees on top of the $5,000. So now they owe $10,000. They get sued, and then they figure, well, I better hire an attorney. So the attorney says, hey, we need $6,000 to get started. That's our retainer. So they gave them $6,000. So now think about it. They owe 10. They put out 6. They put out 6 on 10. Now think about that. Would you pay $6,000 to fight a $10,000 lawsuit? You know where this is going already, right? He answers the suit. The other side answers back. It now goes up another $5,000 on the other side. Now they're saying he owes $15,000. Plus the attorney's now out of the original $6,000 retainer and asks for another $6,000. That's when we enter into the case, and I told the client, who's now become a very good friend of mine, I said, for crying out loud, you just fire the attorney. Oh my goodness. I mean, between what they owed and what they paid, they were now up to like $21,000. And I said, fire the attorney now, okay? And I explained, I'm not going to be able to settle this for what I would like to settle it for because of what happened, but I'm probably going to be able to settle it for about $7,000, $8,000, something like that. As it turned out, it was about $7,800 that we settled it. But here's what my point. My point is, if they had kept going the way they were going, they would have had a very expensive settlement. They would have had to settle $15,000, $20,000, and put out $12,000 in attorney's fees, and maybe settle that $20,000 for maybe 12, maybe 13, 14, when originally it was a $5,000 debt. It doesn't make sense. So we settled it for about $7,700, $7,800. So you can do nothing. You can hire an attorney. You might find yourself in what we call an escrow plan. And an escrow plan generally has an attorney component to it. And it's generally one of these programs where they generally have you on a weekly thing, kind of like your merchant cash advance did. And it's generally $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a week, supposedly going into escrow so that you can settle down the road. The problem with it is usually your first few payments, your first 4 to 6 to 8 payments all go to fees. In the early stages, very little is going to be set aside for settling your debt. And all of a sudden, you can get 8 weeks, 12 weeks in, and nothing's happening, and they've taken a lot of money. Don't recommend that either because 80% of your options in the industry are that one right there, and they generally lead to bad things happening. So I don't recommend that, okay? You can take a bankruptcy and Chapter 11, Chapter 7, you can do that and wipe out the debt, or you can actually do a payback plan on a Chapter 11. The only thing that you have to realize about that, and for some people it's appropriate, but what happens is you actually are given a federal trustee, and on a Chapter 11, you have to pretty much, you're tied to that federal trustee for however long it takes to pay off that debt. And yes, they will negotiate the debt down, and yes, it's probably going to be about half of what you owe. And I can't tell you, that's not true in every case, but I'm just giving you an example. But you're going to have to formulate a budget. You're going to have to live on that budget, and the trustee determines how much you get, how much you make, not how much you make, but how much you get to make, because the rest goes towards paying off your debt. And if you have fluctuations in income, they want to know that, so it reflects in your budget. So you're tied to that trustee for 5 years, 4 years, whatever it takes to accomplish the Chapter 11. I don't recommend it, but sometimes it's appropriate for some people, okay? And then you can hire people like us. And what do? You know what? Never do we answer a lawsuit, never have answered a lawsuit in almost 25 years. Why? Because we found it more effective to immediately contact the law firm, contact the merchant cash advance, and negotiate a settlement that makes sense for you, that makes sense for them, and that immediately shuts down the summons or the lawsuit. And if it's as long as it's a settlement that you can afford and it's stretched out long enough, you know what? Now that stops the lawsuit. Now you're able to make your payments, and now you're able to stay in business and go on down the road. So that's what we do. That's the one that we do. So anyway, those are your options. And, if you want to know more about what we do, you can certainly reach out to us, and whoever is showing you this video, which is our back end, and the people that are working with you on this, emails that you got, texts that you got, whatever, I recommend that you get with them, and they will direct you to how we can work with you and how we can get you out from under this. Okay, I wish you all the best, and hope to be working with you soon. Thank you so much.